cannot totally see you, Juno, kay since your camera is off, but I will be asking questions along the way. So please make sure to listen to my class. No, dili magsigi og dulag ML wag klase ko para naalay attendance. Ha, paminaw mo. Kay hapit ng exam. Okay, so this afternoon I will continue with symbolisms. Last time I already have discussed the definition of symbolisms in poetry and also acrostic poems. No? So this time, you'll be having a bit of a poetry reading wherein we are going to identify different symbolisms that were used in different poems. No? Either it be a contemporary or modern. And also, you are going to determine if ang symbolism gigamit sa author is private or kung siya mag-universal nga symbolism. Okay, so I will now be sharing my screen with you. Okay, so we will continue with our discussion in symbolism and poetry. So we will look at different pictures first no, in order to stimulate your minds. No? Tis moral na siya og gamay nga exercise no, for us to fully grasp what is the meaning of symbolism. Okay, so let's have Letterio. What does this symbolize? Kani nga picture. Letterio. What does this picture symbolize? Again, please pay attention to my class. I will be asking questions from time to time. And anyway, no, it will also I will also see kung kinsa jud ang wala na minaw kay dili makadungog sa ko ang giklase. What does this picture symbolize? Kani akong gi-encircle. Okay, let's have Garcia. What does this picture symbolize, Dai?
Kanang
Kani akong gi-encircle. Okay, this is unsa man ni siya nga flag sa
sa Amerika dam.
Okay, sa United States of America. So what does this flag symbolize? No, since this is the flag of the United States of America. What does it represent? In your own idea.
Mailhan nga ilaha dam.
Okay, it could symbolize the it can symbolize the USA. Unsa pa? Kinsa pa ginahan mo
Pag
answer?
pag unite nila dam.
Okay? So for you, no, this picture symbolizes unity in the United States of America. How about this picture? Kaning dove. Let's have ganaganag.
Kanang
Ganaganag.
daw
Unsay symbolism ani nga picture?
kon dam ga symbolize og kanang love dam.
Love, what else? Unsa pa very common ko makita kag dove ga carry og
Ay,
leaf. Unsa man ang iyahang like first thing that comes into your mind?
peace dam.
Okay, correct. No, it's
Gutom dam.
unsa? Symbolizes what?
Basta gutom ra dam.
Ah, gigutom ang dove. Okay. So, correct po to imong ingingon na nga. It symbolizes peace. No, every time that we see a dove carrying a leaf, it symbolizes peace. No, so, every time nga mo kuan sila, no, mo advocate sila nga peace in the whole world. So, nandiyan na yung symbol sa dove. Okay, next, how about this picture? What does it symbolize?
Love dam.
Okay, love. No, so every time that we see a heart, no, we always incorporate it with love. So actually, class, no, this is not the real shape of a heart. No, lahi man ang shape sa heart, but So naana naman ta nga ang shape sa heart is murapod siya og gibaling nga spades no, pero the real shape sa heart jud is dili na siya, pero sige lang. Okay. So there are many no, every time that we go outside there are many symbols nga to ang ma-encounter no. We see them sa mga signages no, we see them on billboards no, even when we look at um our magazines no, or books no, or at art no, or mulantaw-lantaw og movies, if we listen, or let's say magtuta sa YouTube no, mulantaw ta og mga music videos na nasa mga symbolisms in their music videos no. So symbolism is everywhere. Okay, mo ay wala ka tubag si Letterio. Okay. So, like for example, if you see this picture, it symbolizes, oh, we need to recycle. Or if you see thunder, it could incorporate speed, no? If you see a red sign with the word stop in the middle, it signifies so we need to stop. No, if we see this picture, no, symbolize siya og persons with disability, like kani siya nga comfort room is for PWDs, or for example if makita natin ni siya nga picture, it symbolizes poison or hazard, no. So symbolisms are everywhere. It can be found in art, no? It can be found in literature. It can be found in movies, in pop culture, masking asa ka class, as what I've mentioned last Friday, symbolisms are found everywhere. And artists and even writers, no, are quite fond of putting symbolisms in their literature, no. For example, maghimo silang story, nandoon sila mga symbolisms ka incorporate. Later on, we are going to read different poems class, and then we are also going to identify kani siya nga object symbolizes what kind of, for example, no, crossroads, no, naapo na siya symbolism, or for example, molding clay, naapo siya symbolism po, no. So later on, we are going to read different poems, and we are going to determine what are different symbols nga gusto ipahiwatig sa author, no, or sa writer towards the readers. Okay, so let me just reiterate ako ang definition sa symbolism last Friday sa wala naka-attend. So a symbol is something that stands for itself but also something larger than itself. For us to fully appreciate symbolism class, no, we need to think out of the box. We need to look beyond, no, kay sometimes sa good class very subtle ra kaayo ang usa ka symbol. Like for example, um katong dove, no. At first glance you would think nagdala ra og leaf ang dove, no, kay kuan o gigutom siya or naibog siya ato nga leaf, pero it means so much more, no. Murag lahi ra pud ang iyang kuan, kay actually if we go back to our Bible story class nga we're in si Noah, di ba? For Noah to know class nga if it's safe na to land, or let's say mangita, or he wants to know class if naabay land nga pwede na safe na ba munaog sa ark, no, kay pila to no 40 days to gaulan, no, non-stop ang ulan niya, taas kay yung flood, no. And he carried with him his whole family, no, and every pair nga animal niya makit-an, no, kay because gisugo siya sa Ginoo nga maghimo siya ark, no, so that their family can survive the great flood. Now for Noah to know if safe na ba muna og, no, kay naanay land, so una nagpadala siya og raven. Kanang raven class wala ning balik, no, pero when he sent a dove, ang dove ning balik siya class, and gadala siya og katong leaf, no, and that dove symbolizes hope nga there is hope nga they can survive after the great flood. And hope is sometimes can be equivalent to peace, no. So mo na siya, no. So if we look at it, no, naa siya mura great meaning, or may meaning beyond, no, something larger. Like for you it's just a small dove, but it means larger than itself, no. It may be a person, no. When we use symbolism class, it can be a person, an animal, an inanimate object, or an action, no. Like for example, if you're going to use symbolisms through crossroads, or for example, wala na mold nga clay, no, because for us to make a clay pot you have to mold it, and then wala pa man na siya yung mold or shape, di ba? So like no, you can symbolize something, no, from a person, but sometimes yung pinaka common nga lang gamiton is koan inanimate object, no, or an animal. So A writer often uses a concrete object to express an abstract idea, quality, or a belief. A symbol may appeal to a reader's emotions and can provide a way to express an idea, communicate a message, or clarify meaning. So, there are different kinds of symbols class naman akong gimension na ay conventional na apoy personal or private symbol nga wherein ang conventional is naanda na nato. Like every time we see a red sign with the word stop, it means we have to stop, no? That's conventional, meaning nagamit na sa tanan and is widely understood by readers. Like for example, if you see um, sa pamailain nga kuan. Katong kuan usa ka skull dayon na ay bones no cross nga bones no so um we can immediately incorporate it with hazardous no or poisonous siya nga material because na ay sign dira nga na ay skull and duha ka cross nga bones no so that's a conventional symbol nga everybody knows or understands what that symbol means. So there are many authors class that would use conventional symbols because they want the readers to understand no the symbolisms that they've put in their literature or in their poetry. So a conventional symbol is one that is widely accepted and used by many writers. For example, a nightingale is a symbol for melancholy because a nightingale only sings in the evening, and if in the evening no if you compare it to daytime, medyo sad and melancholy kaayo ang tone, no? A dove, no, for peace, that is like the most common symbol, no, for peace. A rose for love and beauty. Spring for life and winter for death. No, another example kato kung na-mention pag Friday nga wherein a dawn or let's say day symbolizes life, no? Tapos ang breaking dawn symbolizes a start of a new beginning, no? Mo na pinaka-common. And then ang nighttime symbolizes death, no? Or old age, no? So mao pa na siya. For those who have already listened to my previous discussion pag Friday, 'di ba akong gimong example po for symbolism is ang katong riddle sa Sphinx. Now, if you have read Oedipus the King, nga story nga wherein for Oedipus to free the people in that kingdom, he has to answer the riddle of the Sphinx. Now, the Sphinx is a creature that eats human flesh. And then, if dili ka ka-answer sa iyahang riddle, then i-consume or kaunon ka niya. So, ang riddle ni Sphinx kay, um, what walks on four legs during the day, two legs on noontime, and then three legs at night time. So, mention naman ako na before no. So, unsa daw ko ng answer ana? So, of course, ang answer ana is man. Because, ang nag-symbolize daw ko no sa morning is the early years of a man's life. So, kung bata pa siya, which is katong morning, no, gakamang pa ang bata, no, on four legs, no? Kay magkamang raman siya na ang baby sa di pa sa kabalong malakaw. At noon time, mahimog duha because noon time symbolizes later life na sa man, which is ni mature na siya. So, di na siya magkamang, no? So, magwalk na siya on two legs. Now, ang night time, which is three legs, symbolizes old age na sa man, which is gabako na siya and he needs a cane, no? To support and then to help him walk mo ng three legs. So, that is the answer of the riddle of the Sphinx, which is man. No? So, mo to siya, naay symbolism sa riddle sa Sphinx class, no? So a private symbol is in contrast to conventional symbol class wherein si private symbol is si author ang nag-create og iyang kaugalingon nga symbolism and then it is not widely understood by the readers, meaning siya ra naghimo og iyaha nga symbolisms, no, like for example crossroads, no, crossroads for example si protagonist no or si for example si main character sa story or sa poem kay naka-encounter kuno siya og crossroads no or meaning sa crossroads kanang duha ka path no and then he must choose only one. So sometimes it is not quite common for other readers to fully understand that crossroads means choices in life nga wherein you are encountered two paths and you have to choose only one. So mara pod siya mo decide ka ba nga if are you going to pursue your passion or things that will make you succeed in life, no? Sa passion nimo hinoon, you're not earning much pero you love what you're doing. Pero ang sa pikas is dili ka ganahan sa imong ginabot pero maka-earn ka og daghang kwarta. That could be an example of like a crossroads pod, no? So mo pod na siya. That's an example of a private symbol. Nga sometimes, no, authors would like to experiment with their poetry nga they would like to make their own symbolisms, no, and it's up to you on how to determine, or let's say imuhad yung scrutinize mo imo yung lantawon maayo ang poem, no, kung para mong masabtan unsa jud ang gipasabot ni author sa iyahang poem. And that's the beauty of it, because the more you identify symbolisms in poetry, in literature, the more you can appreciate that piece of work, no, or that literature alone, no. So kung dili kay kakasabot, so dili ra murag kuan ra hapaw ra kaayo, no, pero mas munindot pa jud ang imuhang experience sa pag-read og poetry if mas kuan pa jud nimo, no, ma-identify nimo ang different symbolisms nga gigamit sa author. So don't worry, you know, all of us are still novices. We are still amateurs when it comes to identifying symbolism. So nag-prepare ko at least 3 poems that we can read together para ma-hone pa jud ang atong skills in identifying different symbolisms in poetry. Okay, so how do we identify symbolisms in poetry? So first, ask these 2 questions. If some person, place, or animal or object has been emphasized in the work. Like pagbasa pa lang nimo daan sa first or second stanza, kabantay ka nga kani siya nga item or kani nga object no gi-emphasize siya per me. Like for example, ang clay per me gi-emphasize dire. So meaning mo rin ni siya ang symbolism nga gibutang sa author, no, or gibutang sa writer dire sa iyahang work, no? Or repeatedly mentioned ba siya? Not just emphasize, no, kay like garotate ang story around this object, like around the clay, no? Like murag siya jud ang bida sa story. At the same time, permira siya mahisgot sa poem, no? So meaning naa dira ang symbolism, no? And then what else could it stand for besides itself, no? If you read it closely, no, naa ba siya murag hidden meaning na very subtle lang gibutang sa author? Naman po na ang mga questions nga tong i-put in our heads, no, when it comes to identifying symbolisms in poetry. Okay, so how do we identify symbolisms in a text or in a poem, no, or in a story? So let's try to practice. So if you have a notebook there, no, and of course, no, gikan sa to apong gidiscuss atong pag last Friday. So let's decide what kind of symbolisms ang gigamit sa pieces of writing. Okay. Let's try to read together The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. 2 roads diverge in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had worn them really bout the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. 2 roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Okay, so I would like you to take note sa kanya kong gi-point out. 2 roads diverge in a yellow wood, and sorry he could not travel both roads. So siya ang traveler, no, siya mo pili sa asang road ang iyahang i-travel. Then took the other just as fair. So out of 2, nipili siya duha. And perhaps he thought it was the better choice. Because ang katong first niyang nakitaan, or iyahang first choice, kay grassy, no, and more abundant looking than the other. Though as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same. Okay, now I shall be telling this with a sigh, meaning um, he was talking about his choice, no, with a sigh. Kung mag-sigh ta, usually yun sa man emotion ana murag or regret, no, or summer ages and ages hence, two roads diverge in the wood. I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So he was still reminiscing about the path that he took. So I already gave a very short ko ala no morag koan to siya gamay lang nga analysis no, but if you have caught it that would give you an idea on sa ang meaning sa poem. Now I would give you at least 1 minute to read the first page, and then 1 minute to put sa second, and then later on I will ask you unsa ang symbolism sa poem. Okay, so time starts now. I'll give you 1 minute to read and analyze ang symbolism. Okay, so let's now proceed to the next one. I'll give you another 1 minute to read the poem, no, ang half, and then we will answer the question right after this one. Okay, time starts now. Okay, so time's up. So hopefully naana mo yung nakitaan nga symbolisms, no. Nihaton ako very subtle lang pod nga analysis kanina, but if you have already listened pod, so siguro medyo makuha na yung gagmay nga analysis akong gihatag. Okay? So what is the symbolism in this poem? Okay, so let's start with the first stanza. I will be asking Letterio first.
Kuan ma'am, ang symbol niya nga kanang duwa bitaw ka road ma'am niya. Kanang nga road ma'am kuan decision na ma'am ba kung asa siya mo kuan moagi or mo sulod nga road.
Okay, so since mo decide siya if asa nga road ang iyang agtuon in life, what does it symbolize? Kung sa tuwa pa nga kinabuhi kanang a roads, what does it symbolize?
Journey ma'am.
Okay, journey. Oh, that's correct. No, for example, Or mo decide ka kung unsa pod nga path ang imo agton if it comes to your future, no? Padayon ba kag eskwela or mo trabaho na lang ka, no? Mapod na siya or mo decide ka between yung daghan, no? Sometimes we are stuck. Now, times good class nga, we are stuck between two crossroads. Like, literally in life, no? Not just kung mo travel ta or mo agto ta sa gawas, pero it comes to life choices as well. Like, for example, na ay duha ka trabaho, no? Nga pag human mo graduate na duha ka trabaho gi gi-offeran kag two jobs, and then you would like to choose asa, no, and you are still unsure if kay both jobs are really good, no, and then you are still troubled if asa man ani nga duha ka trabaho or asa diri ang akong kuan jud, no, i-decide. And then knowing nga once mo take ka sa usa nimo ka desisyon, unyang usa dili nimo pilion, di na ka pwede mo balik ana, no, sumapod na siya para sa good ng kuan class, no, like for example, um dili yung po na to na siya ma-apply sa schooling and career because once you get a job, pwede man siya ka eskwela balik, no? So, manaman na. Pero, different decisions in life, no? Nga, maabot sa punto pod class nga, duha ka buok big decisions nga either i-sacrifice nimo ang usa, no? Para mo i-pursue nimo ang first choice nimo or i-let go nimo mong first choice, no? Para sa second choice pod nimo. So, that could also be one symbolism in this first stanza. Nga wherein the person here in this poem na stuck siya within two decisions, no? And then naglisod siya kung asa ang iyahang pilion. And then, okay, let's have the second stanza. So nakapili na siya usa class, no? He took the other just as fair. And for him, it was the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though for that the passing there had worn them really about the same. Okay, so who would like to give an analysis on the second stanza? Let's have Makilang.
Dam.
Okay. Unsa ang symbolism diri sa second stanza?
Para sa ako Adam kay gipili niya ang kuan ikaduha nga dalan
Gan
kay kuan man dam. Kay daw sa panglantaw niya nga grassy and dili kayo kuan dili kay maagiandam kay ingana man pud ang mga journey dili man sa una kay sayon ra agian.
Okay.
Mara
So,
ka dam.
okay, that was a very good analysis, no? So, perhaps, no, para sa iya gipili niya ang grassy kay for him less traveled road man siya or gamay ra kaayo ang ning pili ani nga decision or ni pili ani nga road, no? So that could be the reason why. And for him, he thought it was the better decision. So in life, no, for us ginahan jud ta nga kana mga road less traveled, no. Mara mo na siya metaphor pod class sa to ang decisions nga. Dili tanan, no, same og decision para sa imuha, no, and the decision that you are choosing is the road less traveled, meaning dili tanan ginahan mo decide ana because it's difficult, no, nindot siya lang tawon pero it's difficult to get there, no. Sometimes people are like that, no, nga ay I would just choose the easier way kay tungod ko ano, why would I burden myself, no. So siguro, no, for the character, he would like to choose the road less traveled, no, nga road kay tungod para niya, no, it was the better decision. And for him, no, maybe he would like to challenge himself, no, and he would like to see, no, if kani ba nga decision is the best decision for him. Now let's skip to the last one because this is kanang concluding part na sa poem, no. So we're in I shall be telling this with a sigh, so take note of a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has all made the difference. Now, what do you think is the reaction of the character in the last stanza? Did he regret his decision to choose the less traveled road? Let's have Ganaganag.
Para Para nako dam, murag wala dam.
Ngano man?
Ay, murag gamahay pud siya dam, pero murag nadawat niya dam ba?
Okay. So what do you
Kay,
think is the word there nga ning ingon siya nga murag nagmahay siya gamay?
ang kanang I shall be telling this with a sigh dam.
Okay. So correct. No, ngano man day nga nakaingon ka nga nagmahay siya pero na-accept ra niya ang iyang choice.
Okay, kaning sayang line nga, I took the one less traveled by dam niya. Na kuan siya nga, and that has made all the difference bitaw dam.
Mm.
Kanang murag na-realize niya dam ba nga abi, kanang murag na-realize niya dam ba
Unsa man?
nganong ay na nakalahi dam ba, na difference bitaw dam.
Okay. So that is also another good analysis no ga. Of course, no, for him even though he took the one less traveled by nga road, but it is quite different no ang experience siguro niya nga nakuha ay na nga experience no pag sa pagpili ani nga less traveled road or kaning pinaka uncommon nga decision ang iyang gipili, pero for him no it's quite different ang experience sa katong easy lang nga road or easy lang nga decision nga gipili po. So siguro no, he learned something from it, although siguro along the way medyo naglisod siya, but at least no he learned and he accepted po because it was his choice po in the first place. Okay, so that is correct. No, before we will end, let's have this one. I would like this. No, this is shorter than the kaning duha. And this is easier to analyze actually, but we will still no, after the exam we will still read mother to son and the lightning is a yellow fork no next meeting. Okay, para mahon jud nga to ang understanding sa symbolism. Okay, let's try to read last na lang jud ni yearnings. Okay, so the slab of clay before me, lifeless and lacking ambition, refuses to be molded. Shape your dreams, the art teacher says. Let your hands talk to your hearts. Nothing, just unshaped dreams, silent hands, and hardening clay on a paint streaked table. No directions, no picture, no plot, no grade. So forget about books, labor's numbers, and Magellan, empty hallways and tardy slips with dim looks. Forget what you know, explore a different shore, take a breath and fly against the emerging sun. What are you making? The art teacher asked. I see wings. I agree, said the art teacher. Yeah, me too. Okay, so let's go back to yearnings, no? So which words from the poem best describe a symbolic meaning of a clay? So if you could go back to yearnings, no? The slab of clay before me. Medyo kuan kay siya. Ako sang i-zoom. Okay, the slab of clay before me, lifeless and lacking ambition, refuses to be molded. So what best describes the clay class? No? Let's try to look at the choices. So, does the clay describes no directions, silent hands, unshaped dreams, or lacking ambition? I would like to answer. Unsa man ang gidescribe no sa poem about sa clay? Wala ba siya direction, silent hands, unshaped dreams, or galak ang clay og ambition? Okay, let's have Letterio. Unsa man ang kan sa clay? How does it How was it described? Sorry, how was it described in the poem? Wala ba direction ang clay? Silent ba? Describe ang clay as unshaped dreams? Or the clay lacks ambition? Hello? Para mas makaya to, let's go back sa poem, no? The slab of clay before me, lifeless and lacking ambition. Shape your dreams, our teacher says. Let your hands talk to your hearts. How about Makilang?
Lacking ambition dam.
Okay. Now, that's correct, no? The clay was described here as lack of ambition. So, if mo ihalin tulad ang clay class, no? Asa man mo siya ihalin tulad, no? If the art teacher, no, or let's say ato ibutang ang gamold is someone nga mutabang og hatag og shape sa clay. Unsa man ang clay, no? What does it symbolize? Does it symbolize a person, an animal, or an object?
Human dam, tawo.
Okay, correct. Ngano ga symbolize man siya tao, no? Para nimo unsa man ang pasabot nga murag ang clay mura siya tao diri sa poem, ma'am.
Kuan dam,
Walay ambition ang tao dam.
Okay, walay ambition ang tao. So, if we are going to analyze it closely pod class, no, murag kung sa bata pa ta class, no, we are ko ano wala pa tay shape, no? Kanang murag wala pa tay kay ambition in life, no? Ang ato lang is so lang, ga-enjoy lang jud ta everyday, no, sa tong ginabuhat, pero wala pa jud tay murag tunong, no, wala pa tay dreams, wala pa tay ambition, and we refuse to be molded. So na may mga times, no, we refuse to be shaped by our teachers, by our parents, no, mara po tag halintulad sa clay nga walay shape, no, walay direction. So the teacher says, shape your dreams, no, let your hands talk to your hearts. So it could be, no, with the ko ano ang teacher ba ang mo mold or mo shape nimo into a beautiful piece of art, no? Then hardening ra jud ang clay, no, wala ra jud siya kuan, wala jud siya direction, wala jud siya ambitions, no? So instead, si teacher, instead of forcing that clay to have shape, no, or to have ambition, no, because of books, numbers, no, and tardy slips, iyang giingnan nga, forget about what you know, explore a different shore, meaning, think of what you're passionate about, no? Take a breath and fly against the emerging sun. So, ang first shape, gihimo niya is ang wings, no? Because it could symbolize what, no? It could symbolize freedom or mo na iya, no? Take flight na ang clay, no? That could be an example. But in short, the most common jud ana is when we are young, no, mura jud ta og clay class. Wala pa jud tay mold, wala tay shape, and there are people around us that who would help us to become more beautiful, no, as long as we allow them to mold us, to shape us into a beautiful work of art. So si clay, mura nagkita, no, mura po kita tong bata pa, no. So mo po na ang symbolism dira. So see, no, the symbolism nga gigamit ni author sa poem nga Yearnings is the slab of clay, no, and then we can heavily relate to it, can heavily relate to it, and we can also heavily let's say connect to the poem because, no, magdali na kayo siya nga bitaw, no, sa una kita wala pa tayo shape, and our teachers help us determine, or even our parents help us determine unsa jud, no, asa jud ta padulong, and then unsa jud dapat nga dreams nga to ang gusto i-pursue, but they are not forced onto us, no. Kuan naman ta, magi-encourage ta, no. As you can see sa later part sa poem class, no, ginan siya nga forget about books, no, forget about, but doesn't mean nga dili mo eskwela, no, forget about labors, numbers, and Magellan, just explore a different shore, no, kanang still encouraging at the same time. Okay, so na-appreciate na ninyo class ang symbolism sa poetry. No, so it takes time actually, no. So dili man ingon at first glance makuha na dayon nato ang bot gipasabot ni author, no? Sometimes it needs a lot of rereading for us to fully understand or identify the different symbolisms that were used in literature and poetry, no? So i-reread lang siya dato siya per me. So since it's already 3:54 class, so muhatag na lang ko sa pointers sa exam before ko mo end. Please do not leave yet. I will collect the attendance. For a while lang. Okay. Um, Please be reminded that the deadline for your acrostic poem katong Halloween, nihatag na ko to video no unsaon to pagkuan kay katong gimo nila ya dumdum no nga we're in. Sorry, that day. Um, for example, nag-illustrate siya og bat or the word Halloween lang, no? For example, wala kay manahunaan nga Halloween character, ganahan na ka ang Halloween ra ang imuhang ikuan, himuan og acrostic poem. Pwede raman.
Dam, nalubat ko dam.
It's okay. Kuan padung naman pud ta end sa lecture. For example, no, wala ka kanunaan. Like, for example, it's much easier to make an acrostic poem out of the word Halloween than ghost, no? Para mo, mas dali man ang Halloween. So, okay ra. Basta, yung mo illustrate is related to a Halloween character, no? Or, pwede man ka ng mga jack-o'-lanterns, no? Ka ng mga panggamit nila to decorate during Halloween, pwede kaayo. No? Or candies, no? Kay hilig mo kay basta Halloween gani, managtag og candies. Kamo na bahala. Basta, related to Halloween ang inyong himuan og acrostic poem. Because this assignment was given last Friday, which was Friday the 13th, no? Pwede gani class from Friday the 13th yung himuan og acrostic poem. So katong wala naka-attend, simply arrange the word, for example, ghost, vertically, and then himuan nimo ang first letter like G, himuan nimo siya og kanang poem, no? H, O, basta mag-start pod sa same letter. And then, again, ang deadline ani is tonight, on or before 11:59 p.m. Sa Google Classroom is submit. So, atong last Friday pa ni nako gi-assign sa inyo ha. So, mga 1 week na no, and then pila pa kabuk ang nakasubmit. So, please submit na mo. Also, I will give an extension to your module which will be on Saturday anyway. Gamay ra man kaayo pud to.